Chapter 515 to 516. Looking at the dark thunderstorm clouds covering the sky of Hyuga in the distance, Nagato's indifferent face also had a touch of solemnity. Konan, who was standing next to Nagato, also frowned, and there were traces of doubt on her cold yet beautiful face, who has forced Hirako to such a degree. Have other members of Amatsukami also appeared on the battlefield in Konoha? The destructive power of the storm release ninjutsu used by Hirako is extremely high. Every second, several pillars of lightning are raining down on Konoha, and there are no signs of this rain stopping. This ninjutsu used by Hirako is not so simple. It is an area control ninjutsu and consumes too much chakra. Even if it is Hirako, whose chakra is as high as a Bijou, wouldn't use this ninjutsu until he is in a very critical situation. The Tomomasu Diamesabito also looked at the village in the distance with a thoughtful expression. If it is said that anyone was carefree at this moment, then it would definitely be Spiral Mask Toby, who was just playing around without a care about what was happening here, and none of the other three present here cared about what he was doing. Soon, Zetsu appeared out of the ground, and after walking closer to Tomomasu Diamesabito and Nagato, he reported, "Fujin of the Amatsukami is unexpectedly tough. I am afraid that Hirako alone wouldn't be able to complete the task." Tomomasu Diamesabito was stunned upon hearing the situation from Zetsu and asked, "Hirako can absorb chakra using his dark release Kekkei Genkai, so how can Fujin, who specializes in magnet release, pose a threat to him?" Everyone in the Akatsuki organization is aware that ninjutsu-type shinobi are completely useless against Hirako, because as long as Hirako understands the shape change and nature change of any ninjutsu, then he can easily absorb it. Most of the Kekkei Genkai are no exception to this, and even the highly advanced Kekkei Tota dust release that is above Kekkei Genkai can also be absorbed by Hirako. This is why not only Tomomasu Diamesabito, but even Nagato, Konan, and Toby were stunned upon hearing Zetsu's words and looked at him waiting for Tomomasu Diamesabito's answer. Zetsu answered, "Taijutsu and Kenjutsu skills of Fujin are highly exceptional. They completely surpass the level of Hirako, so he is suppressed by Fujin." Then also described the battle between Hirako and Fujin from his perspective. Konan was surprised after hearing the battle description. No wonder Amatsukami sent him out at the start. He is not abandoned or used as bait by Amatsukami to lure us out. He might as well be the trump card of Amatsukami. Zetsu nodded, then asked, "What should we do now?" After a while of silence, Nagato stepped forward to the edge of the cliff and said in an indifferent tone, "No matter who the other party is, they can't stop me from making Konoha feel the pain. I will send the pain Rikudo." Since each pain is now several times stronger than they were before, they will be able to deal with most Konoha shinobi fairly easily. At the same time, they will also deal with the members of Amatsukami that are interfering in the Konoha collapse plan. After speaking up here, Nagato turned to look at Tomomasu Diamesabito and said, "Madara, you should go too, capture Fujin, and I will let Human Path extract his soul to read all his memories. This time, not only Konoha and Gakage will disappear, but I will also uproot Amatsukami." Tomomasu Diamesabito thought about it and nodded. "All right." At this time, Toby, who was staring at a flower, suddenly got up and asked, "Oh, and what about me? Am I also going to attack Konoha?" Hum. Tomomasu Diamesabito thought a little, then shook his head. "For the time being, you stay here, Toby. Aren't the Gakage planning to launch a surprise attack on Nagato? Just deal with them." After saying so, Tomomasu Diamesabito looked at Nagato and said, "Also, be careful of the leader of Amatsukami. Last time Yama managed to sneak attack you and almost killed you. We don't want that to happen this time, so conserve your strength as much as possible." Nagato's face darkened as soon as Yama, but after calming his anger, Nagato nodded to Tomomasu Diamesabito. Tomomasu Diamesabito said nothing more and just disappeared into a spiraling whirl. With Tomomasu Diamesabito gone, Zetsu also retracted back into the ground and rushed towards Konoha. Konoha, staring at Fujin's right hand that easily caught the lightning and crushed it while being empty-handed, Hirako's expression changed. Then he noticed something and reacted. That is, periosteum? As the smoke on Fujin's hand cleared, Hirako with his Sharingan noticed the layer of white periosteum on Fujin's right hand, and I can't help but curse inwardly. Damn, his Shikatsumiyaku is on a completely different level compared to Kagaya Takashi. After personally experiencing the sharpness of the bone blade that chopped off his hand, and the toughness of the periosteum layer that easily blocked and crushed his lightning attack, Hirako finally realized that Fujin's Shikatsumiyaku is on a completely different level than he has ever heard or seen. And for the first time, Hirako looked at Fujin as if he was dealing with someone superior to his strength here, feeling the threat to his life, the crisis of death. Hirako suddenly felt the urge to retreat backwards, his figure flashed, and he distanced himself from Fujin. His severed arm that was cut off by Fujin hung downward because of the chimera bud.
Puff.
As Hirako retreated backwards, Fujin committed out blood again, but he didn't care, and after getting over the body paralyzation, Fujin instantly rushed towards Hirako as he didn't intend to give the other party an opportunity to recover and kill him this time for sure. With the bone blade held in each of his hands and sharp bone spurs protruding out of his elbow, Fujin chased after Hirako, whose body was covered in lightning, and slashed at him from time to time. Sometimes an arm would be cut, the other time the chest would be penetrated, and on the next opportunity his shoulder was slashed. Overall, injuries on Hirako kept increasing as time passed by. Damn it! Damn it! Damn it! Hirako shouted hysterically as anger was gradually growing in his heart. Hirako's steel release, which he was so proud of and thought of as impenetrable and invincible, couldn't resist even a single slash from the bone blades of Fujin. The bone blades in the hands of Fujin are so sharp that is really horrifying. On the sidelines, and looking at Fujin and Hirako, one chasing to kill, while the other struggling to not die, Jiraiya and Tsunade, who were far away, were dumbfounded. After a long silence, Jiraiya sighed. I can only hope that he doesn't become Konoha's enemy in the future. Otherwise, there is no way for any one of us to be able to stop him. Each and every move and style of Fujin seems to be indefinite. They look normal and random, but in reality, each move is a killer attack, and even a little bit of carelessness will result in death. They know that Hirako's strength and skills have surpassed even the Gakage, but in the face of Fujin's increasingly fierce offensive, Hirako's disadvantage has become more and more obvious with time, and now the situation is very clear. Hirako is being completely suppressed by Fujin. Many body parts of Hirako, such as arms, shoulders, thighs, ears, etc., have already been severed by Fujin. The only reason they are still attached is that they are forcibly held together by the Chimera Buds. As for healing his body with dark medical ninjutsu, Hirako doesn't have the opportunity to be able to do so under the constant fierce offensive of Fujin. So, it wouldn't be wrong to say that Hirako has already lost this battle. He wouldn't be able to hold on for too long. His defeat is only a matter of time, and he would either be captured alive or probably die. Tsunade's gaze condensed, and she finally can't help but speak. Have you noticed it too, Jiraiya? Jiraiya asked in confusion. Noticed what? Tsunade looked at Fujin and said solemnly, I don't know if you see it or not, but the combat style of this guy Fujin has too many traces of Konoha's combat style, whether it is Konoha, Ryu, Uchiha Taijutsu, and Kenjutsu, Hyuga's gentle fist taijutsu, as well as many other forms of Kenjutsu styles that have been popular in Konoha are incorporated in Fujin's combat style. Jiraiya's expression shrank upon understanding the implication of Tsunade's analysis. This may be. But he didn't have much time to speak as several explosions and rumbling sounds came from 5 corners of the village. Boom, 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 boom. Immediately afterwards, there were several roars of beasts that didn't come from the territory of the Inuzuka clan. Jiraiya hurriedly jumped on the ruins of a tall building and observed the situation of the village while protecting himself from the rain of lightning pillars. Looking around, he suddenly found that several huge summoned beasts have appeared in the village from the eastern section, and without exception, all of them seem to have the rinnegan pattern in their eyes, as well as black sticks affixed on their bodies. After understanding what this means, Jiraiya said with a bitter and helpless expression, Nagato has also made his move. Hokage building. Hokage-sama. One suspicious individual with the rinnegan pattern has appeared in the western district. Hokage-sama. 2 suspicious individuals with the rinnegan pattern have appeared in the eastern district. Hokage-sama. 2 suspicious individuals with the rinnegan pattern have appeared in the southern district. One by one, Konoha Umbu flashed inside the Hokage office and reported the latest news about the sudden appearance of the new members of the Akatsuki organization to Sandaime Hokage. Sandaime asked with a calm face, describe the appearance of the suspicious individuals. The Umbu nodded and immediately described the appearance of the suspicious individuals with the rinnegan pattern in the eye. After listening to the detailed description of their appearance, Sandaime muttered, each of them has the rinnegan. Either they have orange hair, or they are bald, and each of them has black piercings on their faces? It seems that these are just the new puppets of Nagato. What were they called? Pain Rakuto. Although the last raid against Akatsuki organization at Amigakure failed, the villages still managed to gather a lot of information about their enemies, such as Rinnegan and Pain Rakuto of Nagato, would release, and Space-Time Jutsu of Tobi, according to Sandaime's knowledge, because he is not yet aware that the name Tobi has been given to someone else, paper control of Conan, etc., etc. And using this intelligence, suitable combat strategies have been developed by Sandaime Hokage after various consultations with Nara Shikaku, the think tank of Konoha. So, after groaning for a while, Sandaime instructed the captain of his Umbu guard, notify the 4 Kage to be ready to move at any moment. Although Nagato has not yet made his appearance on the battlefield in person, the appearance of Pain Rakuto shows that he is somewhere nearby and has already made his move. Therefore, the Gakage must be ready to move out at the instant Yamanaka in Noichi locate the position of Nagato. Yes, Hokage-sama. The captain of Hokage's Umbu Guard nodded and disappeared. On the battlefield, hearing the sudden roars of the several summoned beasts and multiple explosions that suddenly increased, Fujin realized that Nagato has also made his shot. So Fujin slightly slowed down the offensive on Hirako and increased his own vigilance against a sneak attack from Nagato and Obito. And while Fujin became cautious, the Tomoma's DMS Obito, who was hidden far away, muttered with a smirk, "I got you." The very next instant, a spatial distortion suddenly appeared on Fujin's back without any warning and began to engulf him inside the Kamui dimension. Kamui. The familiar feeling of tearing and paralyzing sensation instantly shocked Fujin and reminded him that Obito has also made his move on him. Even if Fujin had been psychologically prepared, and even if he had been wary of it, when the attack really came to him, no matter how hard he fought, he couldn't help but feel a little worried. While trying to resist the tearing sensation, Fujin instantly located several chakra signatures in his Byakugan vision. But at this moment, Fujin didn't have enough to be able to distinguish which of these chakra signatures is the real hiding position of Obito, because the time in his hands to be able to break free of Kamui is as short as 1 to 2 seconds. If Fujin doesn't get rid of Obito's Kamui within this short period of 1 to 2 seconds, the end will be self-evident. The distortion of the body became more and more serious. The numbness caused because of being pushed into another time-space filled Fujin's entire body, making him unable to freely control his body. This feeling is stronger compared to the last time he fought against Obito at Kirigakure, which obviously means that Obito's mastery of Kamui has increased several times since he regained his other eye. Facing such a dilemma, Fujin can't help but consider a possibility. Should this one abandon himself, the Fujin clone body? But this thought was instantly rejected by Fujin. No, this one won't abandon himself. After making up his mind, Fujin's expression became serious. He suppressed the anxiety in his heart, let go of all his thoughts, and a strong will to fight back ignited in his heart. Shikatsumiyaku, Dance of the Seedling Fern. Boom 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 boom. Accompanied by the tremors of earth, Fujin unreservedly used one of the strongest secret jutsu of the Kagaya clan. Instantly, one after another, countless bone spears pierced through the ground and appeared on the battlefield. One of these bone spears came out of the ground beneath Fujin's feet and directly pierced through and wrapped around his distorted body that was about to be engulfed inside the Kamui dimension. After his body merged into the bone spear, the very next instant Fujin traveled through the bone spear and changed his position in order to escape the area that was about to be engulfed by the bone spear. Crack. At this instant, Kamui was complete. Looking at it from the side, a spiral cavity appeared on the original tough bone spear, and this cavity is exactly the position where Fujin was standing an instant ago. Under the stripping of Kamui, the bone spear had no resistance at all and was directly broken. Hidden in the shadows, the Tomoma's Obito frowned when he looked at this scene. When Fujin initially used the dance of the seedling fern, Tomoma's Obito felt that something was wrong, and he was puzzled why Fujin used this jutsu. At the same time, he is also confused about how Fujin can use dance of the seedling fern at such a fast speed. It didn't take even an instant since the Kamui was launched, and a complete bone forest was erected on the battlefield. Damn it, the first sneak attack failed. I should have gotten a bit closer and then used Kamui on him, thought Tomoma's Obito with a regrettable expression. After all, the first sneak attack is the most deadly and dangerous, but now that the enemy knows that he is here, so obviously Fujin will be prepared for the next set of offensive. At the same time, he did not expect that Fujin would use such an approach to escape Kamui. Ever since he retrieved his other eye from Kakashi, Tomoma's Obito has better understood his dojutsu, Kamui. Although the Kamui of his right eye can be used to transfer things to the Kamui dimension, the time it takes to transfer things to the Kamui dimension will be affected by the distance. The farther he is from the target, the more time it will take for the transfer. In the sneak attack, just now, Tomoma's Obito stood about 500 meters away from Fujin, so the speed was quite slow and took about 2 to 3 seconds. Although, 2 to 3 seconds is not a very long time period and would definitely kill most of the shinobi, however, Fujin, because of his fast reaction speed and extremely quick thinking, is able to dodge it. Sigh. It looks like this battle wouldn't be easy, sighed Tomoma's Obito, then focused on Fujin and the surrounding bone forest. The bone forest that kept rising from the ground almost frightened everyone on the battlefield. One after another, extremely sharp and strong bone spears sprouted out of the ground. Unfortunately for Fujin, Hirako, with his extremely fast speed granted to him by swift release, managed to dodge the bone spears with some difficulty. Of course, looking at his panicked expression, it can be assumed that he has probably already developed a psychological shadow against these bone spears and is really afraid to face them. Of course, Konoha Shinobi was also panicked. They were afraid that they too would die because of these bone spears, but strangely enough, The bone spheres did not grow out of the position where Konoha Shinobi stood. It was as if these bone spheres were deliberately avoiding them, which made them understood that the member of Amatsukumi does not intend to target them and relieved them of a lot of their worries. After calming down, everyone looked at each other. From the moment Fujin was suddenly attacked by some sort of distortion in the void, to the moment when Fujin used Dance of the Seedling Fern to escape the attack, and then the appearance of this bone forest, the whole process was completed in only a few seconds. So most of the people are unable to judge what exactly happened all of a sudden, and where did the attack come from. At this time, Jiraiya, who has already entered the Sannin mode, informed everyone a new enemy has appeared, and it is the guy who uses some kind of weird space-time jutsu along with Mokuton. Be vigilant. Jiraiya is extremely familiar with the intelligence of the members of the Akatsuki organization, so the moment the void distortion appeared around Fujin, he immediately recognized the identity of the enemy, and after confirming his guess with Hyuga Kuroto / Watatsumi, Shadow Clone, he instantly informed everyone. After receiving Jiraiya's warning, all the Konoha shinobi, including Tsunade and Hyuga Kuroto / Watatsumi Shadow Clone, immediately hid their bodies, as they did not want to be targeted by Kamui. Jiraiya went towards Tsunade and said, "We can't be passive now that another enemy has appeared. I will support Fujin, and you will be my backup." Tsunade nodded heavily. All right. The current situation is disadvantageous for Fujin. 2 Akatsuki members are already on the field. Although Fujin is extremely strong, other members of Amatsukumi should also be hidden somewhere and observing the situation no matter what, as Konoha Shinobi, Jiraiya, and Tsunade can't sit still. They must also take action, as they absolutely do not allow Konoha to be mere spectators in a war fought in Konoha. The other side of Bone Forest. While panting deep breaths, Hirako recovered a little from his injuries and roared loudly in the direction of Tomomasu Mesabito. "Why are you here? I am the one who is going to kill the bastard." Listening to Hirako's roar, there was no response from Tomomasu Mesabito, as he was busy searching for Fujin's location. Seeing that he was being completely ignored, Hirako could only grit his teeth in frustration and clench his fist in anger. Although he doesn't want to admit it, Hirako had to accept the fact that when put in a 1-versus-1 confrontation against Fujin, he is not strong enough to be able to defeat Fujin. Facts have proven that he'll have to join forces with this so-called Madara person in order to deal with Fujin. Of course, Hirako knows that with the help of Madara, dealing with Fujin will be extremely easy. After all, Madara is definitely the second strongest person in the Akatsuki organization. And in Hirako's opinion, although Fujin's strength is a bit too outrageous, the opponent often vomits blood and stops midway as if he is paralyzed. Therefore, Hirako can judge that Fujin's body definitely has some kind of problem, so as long as he and Madara join forces, they can resolve Fujin in the shortest amount of time. Just after Hirako's words fell, Fujin's half-body suddenly appeared out of the bone sphere behind Hirako, and without wasting any time in speaking nonsense, he directly slashed the bone blade in his hands. The sharp bone blade, glowing with cold light, was slashed across Hirako's neck. Slash. As soon as the bone blade ran across Hirako's neck, blood splashed out, and the very instant, Hirako's, angered and shocked head, was cleaved off his torso and fell on the ground. Plop. With the muffled sound, Hirako's severed head fell to the ground. At the same time, Fujin retracted his figure back into the bone sphere without leaving behind any trace. Once Dance of the Seedling Fern is used, the entire bone forest becomes an extension of Fujin's body. His chakra covers the entire bone forest, so finding his exact position becomes an impossible task even for the Byakugan and Sharingan users. In such a scenario, unless Kamui or any other attack can sweep the entire bone forest at once, otherwise defeating him would be extremely difficult. The numerical advantage is meaningless here, because the base strength of the Fujin clone is very high, and he is not afraid of anyone below the level Rakuto level 6 path class. Fighting against 1 or fighting against 100 is one and the same thing.